guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be working in the craft room, trying to decide right now what we're going to do. We're going to be making a rolling pin. We're going to be decoupaging, and it's going to be a decorative rolling pin for my kitchen for when it gets remodeled. And I'm practicing on myself, obviously, because I have several of these rolling pins that I plan on making as gifts throughout the year. But I got these for like $2 after Christmas, and I'm going to figure out what we're going to do to them. We're going to paint them this color. I had debated on a very pale pink. This is called Dutch Aqua. Okay. But this is the decoupage paper that I'm using, that we're going to put around the actually pin part of the rolling pin. And I've been like tearing some pieces and trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to place these on there. But we're going to start out by painting it. We're going to paint this part, the green. Now I may eventually decide that I want to paint the handles too. And I'll probably like paint them a different color, but I may paint them the same color. It just depends. I have to wait and see how this part turns out first. But I found this idea on Pinterest, and I already have two antique rolling pins that I display in my kitchen, and I thought, how cute would it be to have the two antique ones, and then this one that by the time I get it decoupaged and add a ribbon to the end is gonna look antiqued as well. So I'm actually using decoupage paper. You can use napkins, you can use newspaper, you can use magazine paper, you can use anything to decoupage, but I bought this back several years ago for a different project and used it, and I like this print, and it has the green color in it that I accent with in my house, and also I accent with blush pink. So I think it's gonna give a nice pop of color to my crock that I have my rolling pins in, and just kind of give it a little punch of color, because my kitchen's going to be white cabinets, white counters, shiplap white on the walls. Of course, you know, not bright white, but I use alabaster. My floors will be gray like the floors in my house everywhere. And and I'm doing that on purpose because I want to be able to, at Christmas, if I want to decorate with red, I can add those pops of color to my white kitchen. And I've had a white kitchen in the past. I've had a hickory kitchen in the past. And I've had just an oak kitchen in the past. And I prefer the white. So white, I can change it up if I get tired of my accent color of green and blush. Then I can change to whatever color I want to. And that's why I like a neutral, versatile house. My whole house is neutral that way. As you can see, my ceilings are neutral. I have the neutral colored Repose Gray on my sheetrock. My door actually is going to be black like all my other doors in the house. I just haven't painted it yet. And my floors are gray. So everything in my house is neutral, and I decorate with pops of color. So we're going to get started. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead. I'm not a pro or an expert or anything, but I do hope to improve as we go on. And we're going to go through this little craft project and see how we can get this rolling pin done. All right. See you in a bit. Okay, so what we have is the rolling pin. I have just this little, it's a tub my husband had when he was in the hospital, I think, for either his hernia surgery or his knee replacement. And what I've done is I've taken just some peel and stick, the little felt furniture pads that you buy to put on the bottom of the feet of furniture. And I've put them on here to where I can lay my rolling pin in between there. and I can paint it without worried about it rolling off either end. So we're going to take our Folk Art 4664 Dutch Aqua paint, and I just use a paper bowl. We're just going to put it in a paper bowl. Not exactly sure how much we'll need. This hasn't been used in a while, so I have to stir it up good. A little liquefied on the tail end of things. I'm just going to use a sponge brush because I can just throw it away when I'm done. I'll stir that up good. It's a very pretty color. It's kind of almost Robin Eggs blue. I do have some Robin Eggs blue, but this has just got a little bit more green to it. You know what I'm going to do first before I do that? I think I'm going to... no, it's going to be thick enough. I was going to say I was going to put a layer of Mod Podge on here, but we're just going to go ahead and we're going to paint this rolling pin, and it might take more than one coat. We'll see. It may just take one coat. Looks like it's covering pretty good. We'll see once it dries. Ooh, that's a nice color. And we're going to just take and paint the rolling pin all the way around. I like to paint with the grain of the wood, but you can paint each any way you want to, really, because you're going to decoupage over it once it dries. I probably should have taken some painter's tape and taped off the handles. We'll do that here in a minute so that I can paint the sides of this big roller. I didn't think about that in advance. It's been a while since I've been in my craft room because we just got my new craft room set up. Okay, but looks like we've got the paint all the way around, and hopefully one coat will be enough. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna get some painter's tape and put on the handles, and we'll come back and paint the side. Okay, so I got those taped off, and the only reason really that I'm taping those off is in case I want to leave them the wood color. If I decide to go ahead and paint them, then it's not going to matter. But if I decide to leave it the wood color and just stain them, then I don't want paint to be on the edges of them. Just gonna paint all the way around there like that. Take and drag along the edges so that I don't have any paint caked up. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. It's drying really fast now, but I'm gonna let that dry. If I need to put on a second coat, I will. Otherwise, I'll let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow we will decoupage the paint on there. Okay, so we got it dry. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to leave that tape there. It's not going to need another coat, so that's a good thing. I'm going to go get another paper bowl to put this Mod Podge in. Or you know what? I think this paintbrush will fit in there. I'm going to open this Mod Podge up. And I got the matte finish. It comes in glossy and matte. But I like the matte finish. Sometimes the glossy finish is good. Depends on what you're doing, but with something like this, I do prefer the matte. I'm just going to brush it on here. And it's white, but it's going to dry clear. brush it on here just kind of quickly. Get it coated good. And then we're going to get our paper set on here like we want it. I've got this one piece. I've already kind of tried to place them on here. I'm gonna roll it that way and kind of press it down. Make sure we get all the air bubbles out. Okay. And then I'm going to place my individual flowers that I have cut out on here. I missed a spot with the Mod Podge, and that's okay. You just spread it on here and put it on there. It's okay if you miss a spot or two. Just kind of stick your flowers on here. You want it on the front and the back because you don't want it peeling off, and you don't want air bubbles forming either. And you just kind of place them around where you want them. And let's see if we need one right here. And then what you want to do, once you get them brushed on there good, is you want to put a good coat on and seal it up. And you want to be a little bit neater at this point. Making sure that it's nice and coated. And it does look milky, but trust me, it's going to dry clear. You want to make sure all your edges are down. You want to make sure that paper gets good and wet. And the main thing is going to be to watch for air bubbles. And sometimes if you have air bubbles after it dries, you can take a little sewing pin, like you pin fabric with. And you can poke a hole, a little pinpoint hole with the pin. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we are just going to let that dry. I'm going to go ahead and do these ends so that there is a shiny seal on the ends just like there is everywhere else. And it will dry clear as well. We're just going to sit and let it dry. And then we'll finish it up. We'll decide if we want to do the handles in a pink color or if we want to leave them the wood and we just put a coat of this on it. So we'll see and decide what we want to do there after we get this dry, because it may be that once this dries, it may be that we don't want to paint the handles, but it may be that we may want to. So close that up good. jump the gloves and the brush away, and we'll be back when it dries. Get a close up, let you see what it looks like, and then we'll look at it whenever it dries to see how it turned out. Okay, it's the next day, and we are all dry. You can see where I have put the appliques on there. I'm going to take the painter's tape off now. And I have decided that I'm going to go ahead and paint these handles. And the color I've picked out is a very pale pink, which I think it's going to go well with the green. And get the painter's tape off. Okay, so here we go with our handles in the natural. But like I said, I'm going to use this pale pink. It's called Vintage Victorian. It's 6363. It's an ultra matte acrylic. I'm going to give it a good shake because it's been in storage for a while. It's never been opened. So I'm hoping it's still good. Sometimes paint will last a while and sometimes it goes old. And you just kind of have to, you know, we won't know till we get it in the bowl. If I can get the plastic seal off of it. Yeah, it looks like it's good. It's not dried out or anything. So it's it's a light pink. It's a little bit lighter than the flowers on this bowl. I'm going to grab a paintbrush. We're going to paint these. I'm going to figure out how to do this without. And this probably will take more than one coat. To be very careful here around this green as to not get it on there. I have to do one side at a time, so I'm not going to be able to lay it down to dry. If I went any darker with this paint, I don't think it would work. I think it would be too bright. But since it's a pale pink, and I told y'all that I use a blush color pink to accent with my green color. And this is similar. It's a little bit lighter than a blush, but it's similar in color. And it'll blend well, being lighter. I don't know, it may not need another coat. We'll have to see when it dries. Get the end painted there. And make sure everything is straight and nothing is globbed up anywhere. Make sure we get it all. And you could even, after you do this, you could even take some sandpaper, and if you wanted to distress it a little bit, and you could sand it down. But there, we got that covered pretty well on there, and you can kind of see. Let me pick the. You can kind of see how it's going to blend well with the applique. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it down in here like this, to where it doesn't touch, and let it dry. And then we'll come in here and we'll paint this other end, because it's not going to take that long to dry. This paint dries really quick. So we'll be back in a bit. Now, I got both ends painted, and one thing I learned a long time ago is that with this acrylic paint, and depending on what surface you have it on, you can take a blow dryer and dry it. It dries really quick anyway, but if you're in a real big hurry, I just took my craft room blow dryer and dried it the rest of the way with that. Now, I'm not going to be able to do that with my Modge Podge, but I can go ahead and apply my Modge Podge to my handles one at a time, let them dry. I do want to put that coat on there though. I do want to have that seal on there just because it's easier to clean them with, and they won't get scratched. Because when I put this in my crock with my other rolling pins that I have to decorate with in my kitchen, then they're going to be bumping up against each other and all that, and I don't want it to get scratched. So I am going to put Modge Podge on the handles just like I did when I decoupaged. But it turned out real pretty. I'm going to add some ribbon. But first I'm going to get these handles Modge Podged, and then we'll get the ribbon on and I'll show you the final result. I was able to find a smaller brush. So I'm just going to take and put a generous amount, just like I did on the rolling pin. It'll dry clear even if it goes on white. And I'm going to put a generous amount on there. Like I said, this comes in glossy as well. So if you want to, you can get the glossy kind. And I have a jar of it for certain projects I would probably use glossy on. But for this, I'm just using the matte. It covers just as well. It just doesn't have as shiny of a finish. And that's kind of what I'm going for with this. I'm just going to spread it out, make sure it's well coated, get that tip coated, make sure it's coated down around the bottom. Okay. And I'm just going to let that sit there and dry. And then I'll come back and do the other one, and then we'll get the ribbon on. Okay. So we have the finished product, okay? And I did get a little bit of paint on there with my gloves, but that's okay because that's where the ribbon's going. And it kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. So the ribbon for this is going to go along the top part. To kind of give it a little accent. I think I'm going to make the bow first and then add it. And kind of add it on top with a glop of glue. A glop of glue. Get it like I want it before I add it on there. Gonna work with it. Okay, I got my Ryobi hot glue heating up. My hot glue gun. It is cordless, and I've got it heating up, and I'm gonna glue this bow on with it. I tried using some craft glue, but I just don't have the patience to sit here and wait. So we're gonna use hot glue. And for the purposes I'm using this for, hot glue will be fine. Okay, so we got the bow hot glued on. And I found this, I buy stickers and stuff when they're on sale at Hobby Lobby. This is not a sticker, but it's a little craft flower, and I think it's going to be perfect right there. So I'm going to take and hot glue it on as well. Put a little dab of glue on there. And put it right in the middle. Hold it for a few seconds. And I think it just looks lovely. Lovely, lovely. Okay. So now we're just going to take and trim up with my good scissors the ribbon. Poof this one out a little bit. That's one good thing about the wire in this ribbon is that you can poof it out. The purple doesn't have wire, but the green does. You can poof it out and make it look pretty. Maybe I do need to go a little shorter on the purple. I think it's just a little too long. If I get it to quit turning. Yeah. I think that looks better. Oh yeah. I'm gonna bring this around into the front and cut that green just a hair shorter and in the opposite direction. Now I think that's a little better. Okay, so our angle this a little bit. Our little rolling pin is complete, is finished. It's not perfect, but then it doesn't need to be because it's going in with some let's see if we can put it over here somewhere where you can see it on a different colored surface. All right, and I'll try to include a picture of it when we get it all fixed. All right, that's it. Our first craft in our craft room, since I got my new craft room up and running, and I'm pleased with it. I will practice. For those of you who can't remember, this is the rolling pin. Sorry, this is the rolling pin prior, just a plain old rolling pin, and then after. So if you like watching these crafts, give it a big thumbs up, join my channel. I'm going to start working on getting better at what I do, and do little crafts like this as we go along. So I don't know what we're going to do next, but we'll figure it out. Talk to y'all later. Bye.